to have the most impact.
That's great. And, you know, you and I are at the age now where our contemporaries is starting to ask the question, right? You know, a little Shakespearean to exit or not exit. And, you know, that's where a lot of owners are going. And the beauty is now the question is a little bit rhetorical, meaning it's not so much about exiting, but looking at one's business as an investment or as part of your investment portfolio, you know, and maximizing its value, whether you sell it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that we've really hit on. So, you know, some folks might even ask, you know, why go to all that trouble to get my company ready for sale if I'm not even going to sell it? You know, which is, you know, I think it's a good question to ask. But, you
Yeah.
know, the simple answer is if you go through that process, you know, you could easily double or triple the value of your business, whether it's we're 250K up to 750K, or, you know, I know in your world, you and I were chatting a week or two ago about going from, you know, 1.3 to 4.5, that kind of thing. So, you know, Steve, I think where we want to go now is to share a little bit more about what's possible. You know, how can a construction or a roofing company, for example, be worth, you know, X today and 3X in a year or a little bit longer? You know, what are the key factors? And maybe you just want to kind of take us through that a little bit. We were just talking about KPIs and another way to look at things. You and I have talked a little bit about EBITDA, and you've got another lens. So why don't you kind of like high level? I know there's sort of 5 steps, but why don't we just start with kind of step 1 in terms of, you know, where does one start and why? And then we'll talk again next week and we'll break it down even further to, you know, step number 2 and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'd like to start by really just saying that it's not about the final exit. It's about being positioned to exit. And so, you know, I work with a large franchise organization, and you know, I work with, you know, quite a few offices that started off with a very much a trade mindset. You know, they're really, really good at their craft, as I like to call it. But they never really learned the technology. They never really learned the marketing. They never really learned how to manage a sales team, and among other things, and really pay attention to the language of business, which is accounting, right? As Warren Buffett likes to say. So, you know, I would say, you know, if you were a construction, roofing, plumbing, if you're in the trades, which is a space that I love to be a part of, you know, you could be making a nice living, right? In order to scale, if you are the sole practitioner of the trade and you have people that assist you, you can't scale. And which means you never have anything that builds value. So your asset, which is your business, and it should be an asset, is not increasing its value. Now, you may be producing more revenue year after year, but there comes a point where you can only do so much. And then, you know, this dreaded thing we call age starts to hit us. And, you know,
Not for you and I, though, Steve, not for
oh,
us.
yeah, I know a lot of tradespeople that, you know, I was talking to a guy the other day that he's been at this for 30 plus years. He's a restoration company owner. COVID really hit him hard. And, you know, he's trying to figure out a way, and he's 76 years old. He's got some health challenges. He can't get on a roof, for instance. He doesn't see as good as he used to. You know, these things happen. And he doesn't have anything to sell. And so after, you know, I've been working with him now for 6-8 months, and, you know, we're building some value, what I like to call positioning. He's positioning so that, first of all, he doesn't actually have to sell. And that by the end of this year, he'll have a choice, because we're building a business that can operate without him. And so that when that knock on the door does come, and it always does, I'm here to tell you, I used to get letters in the mail every month, people looking to buy a business like mine, right? We all get those letters, most of us do. And he'll have a choice. So it's not about like like you probably heard people say, you should always operate your business like you're going to try to sell it or like you're selling it. And that is true, but not literally true. It means that you should always be ready. Your accounting should be neat. You should have a team in place. Some of the things we're going to be talking about today, those things have to be there in order for you to be positioned either to pass the fishing test, as we like to call it. That's a fun way to say, if you can leave for 2 weeks at a moment's notice and go fishing, and your business operates without you, you've got an asset,
Yeah,
not a job,
that's
right?
great.
And so, can we 3x a business? Honestly, I would say we can 10x a business pretty easily if the owner and the people that are involved in that process are willing to really dig in and dive and just kind of follow some guidance. We're advisors, right? We don't tell you what to do. We suggest things.
Yeah,
And key factors in growing a business and having it and being ready for someone to come by are the same factors that's required for you to be able to become a passive owner, for you to be able to pass that fishing test.
yeah,
And that is, your accounting has to be in order because that's the language of business. That's how you can see from the front of your boat with your foot on the trolling motor. You can pull up your phone and you can see if your business is listing starboard or not. Right? But without good accounting, you'll never know.
right.
The other thing would be, the leadership team and some of these things we're about to get into. So it's not that difficult. It does take a little bit of focus and honing in on these particular areas of business to accomplish that.